A place that needs no introduction. The Isle of Avalon, King Arthur's burial.
There's no words needed. The Glastonbury tour. I've wanted to come here for many a year, revisiting for many lifetimes. And it has been a big hike up the hill. Totally worth the view across the plains. It's only next weekend or a few days after is the Glastonbury Festival. It's a solstice in 5 days and the sun is out.
I managed to get some great shots with hardly anybody in, and beautiful sunscape over the photos.
I'm at the entry to the old remains of the medieval tower. There's a few people around. A sacred place indeed.
A still shot over the horizon. It really is a vista. That's such the English countryside. And a compass point to show you where all the local towns are, of which I've visited many recently. Managed to get a shot of me with the tour behind and a few people there. Such a sacred space, and the view through the arches. And then I went in to sit down and met an amazing man called John. Please read my book to hear what happened. Wow, that's all I say to that conversation. And I asked him to take a picture of me, and he managed to get this perfect shot with no one in sight, with the tower. It really was one of the special moments of the holiday. And down the hill was Chalice Well, where the sacred waters lie. Iron water, sort of a red glow, quite amazing. And this is Chalice Well itself, with the vesica pieces and the lid. Silence, meditation all around. I drank from the lion's fountain here. Really could taste sort of the blood taste of the iron. And I headed to Wells, and this is the market town just in front of the cathedral there at the background. Very busy for a Sunday. The magnificence of the front of it. I actually didn't go in this time. I really was short of time, but wanted to revisit. But this is Vicar's Close, the oldest medieval planned street in the world, 1615. It's just magnificent. These are the grounds of the Archbishop's Palace, out to the back, in the ruins. And Wells is famous for its swans. You ring a bell and they come to feed. It's nice to see the cygnets with their grey fluffy bits. Heading to Wiltshire and the famous white horses. I saw about 3 on my journey, but there's 8 in total. This was a clear-cut one on the way, and there was one that was nearer where I was staying, and of course Uffington is the oldest. Oh, Molly and Boo, mother and daughter, these are the dogs I was looking after in the Land Rover before we went up to the plains.
Off-road.
Wow, so 30 miles of just pure military grounds. Incredible. Where they practice their tank driving and blowing things up, eh? And we stopped for a pint at the Ship Inn with Nick and Jane on the way back down. Amazing life. And then we went to another pub called the Barge Inn. Oh, quite an eclectic place that was, with campgrounds out the back for the travellers to stay. A really mixed bunch. Amazing space. And the OS maps on the wall absolutely fascinated me, and this is where I knew that I needed to go, into the energy of the places of and Jane picking the wine for the evening, a rather special collection. That was lovely. They were such nice people. Really got on with them. And the largest block of cheese on cheese platter I've ever seen. which we devoured after a delicious dinner. Nick and I celebrating over crackers and wine. Love to find like-minded people. This is the back of Laycock Abbey, a little while away towards Corsham. I managed to get there in time to see the cloisters, if not the rooms inside, but it was a magnificent building. This is the outside of the chapel where the nuns would have lived and worshipped and spent time in before they went in to worship, and the cloisters were stunning. You may recognise them from the Harry Potter films. Just amazing, and I adored this cauldron since the year 1500. It was made, holding so much history and wisdom. Again, down the view, you could see into the rooms. It was a really special place. You can imagine the nuns in quiet contemplation along these cloisters, into the grass in the middle. So we always have a square around a grass area when it comes to the cloisters. A little history of Laycock Abbey. And then it was time to move on to the infamous Stonehenge, which we saw from a distance. By this point I'd picked up my friend Monica from Adelaide, but she was over in England for a few days, so had to take her to Stonehenge and do the tourist thing. Although of course I was going back for Solstice in a few days. I wanted to see it in daylight without people around it before the mayhem started at Solstice. So there's various shops, various positions. We were there on the Tuesday before the protesters sprayed orange powder over the stones on the Wednesday. Luckily it did not rain, so they could clear it off with a blower before Solstice on the Thursday night. I was just sort of walking around the stones. They're the ones where I sat for Solstice, right there. There's lots of crows flying as well, which I always find quite a sacred sign. The witches are around when the crows are flying. So that one in the middle with a little dot on the top, that's the altar stone. And these are just views over, these are views over the hills. I just think they are magnificent. And the thistles. And we'd walked up to Wansdyke and the hills and just being out in the country with the cows, which is always a moment to walk through a field. They're so big. I'm here up at Wansdyke Ridge, I think you'd call it. Avebury is to the north, Stonehenge to the south. We're just capturing the cows and the landscape. It's magical. Made special because I'm here with Monica. And it's just an awesome morning. We managed to... Somebody turned in on the track that we were coming up the hill with, so we could follow them and get directions and know where to park. We wouldn't have had a clue otherwise. Beautiful cows. Something magical about a summer meadow full of wildflowers. So many bees and insects. I'm just south of Avebury, and I've walked from West Kennet Point diagonally across the field to Silbury Hill. And this is an energy portal right here. These are still shots of the magnificent landscape. The pregnant belly of the earth, as it was known. I don't think I'll ever tire of the English countryside, and I hope that you are enjoying the vistas too. That's down to West Kennet Avenue, which leads from Avebury to the sanctuary of the stones. And we're having a quick light lunch at the Red Lion, the only pub within a stone circle in the world. It's nice to have refreshments. And I loved Avebury, up close and personal to the stones. Far larger, 10 times the diameter of Stonehenge. And you could really get close. The road runs through the middle of it. This to me is where the villagers lived and worshipped. Coming up to Avebury. It's been magical. We had a drink in the Red Lion pub at the back. root system on these trees was just magnificent. Hundreds of years old. You could see all the sheep asleep under the trees. This was warm for England. And then we retired back home, and this was the famous Greek bottle of wine that I had purchased. Again, you can read the details in the book, but it's lovely to enjoy yet more cheese and wine. You know my thing now. It really was a lovely time. I'm at Fixbury Ring. Over in the distance there, not sure if you see it, is Salisbury Spire, just sticking up above the horizon. I've just dropped Monica back at the train station. Just come to ground myself once again on the longest day of the year, June 20th. Solstice is at 9:52 tonight, and I have just caught up with a friend of a friend who I met randomly once before, Indira, up in Evesham, and we're going to Solstice together tonight with our partner Dave, so that's going to be amazing to share the experience, and it's far less daunting to go somewhere not on your own in the middle of the night. Pitch black. Well, it's not pitch black here, but anyway, this place is magical, just to have that feel of the energy and everything again. It's been a full-on couple of days. Crop Circle Centre. Whilst I didn't see any, it was good to visit the place where you can get the history of them and look them up. And this was interesting. It was a place called the Sanctuary, and all the stones had been cut off but painted in blue and pink. There was not a lot to see, but I could certainly feel what was going on there. This is the end of West Kennet Avenue from Avebury, and it links to up to Avebury and through to Silbury, and this is a map. By all means, pause it and have a look at all the places, which I visited all of them while I was there. And just a different perspective of Silbury Hill as I drove by. But the best was to come at Long Barrow. This was most amazing experience. There's a quick video in front of it, but this was an absolute highlight of my trip. I'm currently standing atop a Long Barrow, West Kennet, and in front of me is Silbury Hill. And what's fascinating is there are some travellers in the barrow itself beneath us. And the National Trust people that are walking off now have come to move them on. But all I'm hearing from the travellers is that they will be shown a sign from the sun of where to go next. And now I can hear them saying they're going to pack up, because I think basically they're on the phone to the cops. And now the music's starting. Oh my God, they're chanting. Holy moly. This is Bill playing his shrieky box in the tombs. It moved me to tears, and I gave him a massive hug, and we spoke deeply. I hadn't wanted to record him for long. It felt, I don't know, rude in some way to be in there, but this is the history of the place. And then I offered him my last fiver, and he offered me artwork. And I love this Kali energy of the Japanese warrior woman. An amazing experience. And this is the view in a book, obviously, of Long Barrow. Gives you a whole different perspective of it. Changing the scene completely, I caught up with a school friend, Rosemary McCrow, Rosemary Berry as she's known now, and we listened to the local band in the park. I've not seen Rosemary for 38 years since we left school, so it was great to meet her family. and her mum again, and she cooked the most magnificent quiche. Lovely to have some homemade hospitality at the end of an amazing week.